The boyfriend I trusted the most secretly sold my family heirloom jewelry to pay for a vacation I never asked for. I, 30 female, recently found out that my boyfriend, 32 male, secretly sold several pieces of jewelry I inherited from my deceased relatives to pay for a surprise vacation. I only discovered this when I noticed unexplained bank withdrawals and traced them back to my missing jewelry. He deposited a large amount of money from the jewelry and then withdrew small amounts to cover it up. When I confronted him, he admitted he sold the jewelry to fund the vacation, saying he didn't realize how much it meant to me. He claimed he thought I'd appreciate the trip more than the jewelry. He said, "You've had them for so long and never even looked at them." I asked him where he brought them and he said, "It's in the past, let's move on from this." I'm truly angry. I was devastated and felt completely betrayed. I told him he had to move out because I couldn't stay with someone who would disrespect my personal belongings and trust like that. He's now furious, accusing me of being ungrateful and focusing on the wrong thing. I wish I could send screenshots, but he said, "Han, just take some time to relax. Breaking up would end a 3-year relationship right away. It's a hard decision. Also, I can't change locks since he's on the lease right now. Am I the idiot for demanding my boyfriend move out after discovering he secretly sold my family heirloom jewelry to fund my surprise vacation? What exactly should you be grateful for? The vacation he's made you pay for. I'd report him to the cops. This is theft. Girl, seriously, he stole from you? What on earth is going on that this isn't an incredibly easy decision? He's a bad person who stole from you. The relationship is over. Please get yourself into some therapy to help you realize how messed up this is and that you deserve better, right?" I'm shocked she would rather stay with someone who doesn't clearly respect her or her property. She basically funded her own vacation and he stole from her. How hard of a choice is this? Trust went out the window at this point. Not the idiot, but your decision to ask him to move out is justified given the severity of this betrayal. His attempt to paint you as ungrateful instead of taking responsibility for his actions is manipulative. Further, it proves why you can't trust him. You're not overreacting. This violation strikes at the core of what's needed for a healthy relationship. Take time to process this and prioritize your well-being as you move forward. Update number 1. I filed a report with the police. A detective called me and said he had a history of bank and mortgage fraud. This is completely shocking to me as he appeared as normal as can be. I'm still in contact with him, trying to find the places where he sold my jewelry, but he refuses to answer me and tells me to let it blow over and to relax. The police will help him accurately remember the pawn shops, but you must report it now. I'm willing to bet the surprise vacation either doesn't exist or is a fraction of what he sold your jewelry for, and he used the rest for something else. In any case, this guy is a thief and can't be trusted. Tell the police you want them to press charges and never let this guy near you again. Let me guess, he went on this vacation too, right? Don't just throw him out. Press charges and sue him for the money. He stole your property and sold it to benefit himself. Check your title deeds and shut down your credit cards now. Please make sure he has no access to your money. Gather your valuables and take them to a trusted family or friend. There's no living with thieves with no boundaries. Update number 2. A detective called me and told me my boyfriend has a criminal record of theft and fraud. Not your average fraud either. He told me he has priors from bank frauds and mortgage frauds. I said I wanted to file a restraining order, but since he's not a violent offender, they said it's tricky. Also, I would probably never be able to get my jewelry back without contact with him. Honey, learn from this. He's a career criminal. You got canned, and now it sounds like you're falling for his excuses. Unless you want a life of being taken advantage of, it's time to toughen up. My friend has a tween foster daughter. They're homeschooling the girl because she gets overwhelmed around big groups of people, and because she goes to other programs and services during the day. All of this meant she didn't get many opportunities to be around other kids. So my friend invited us and another family over and told us to bring our kids so her daughter could get used to being around other children. Our kids are tween male and pre-tween female. The other kids were nearly adult male and pre-tween female. She tried, but the place wasn't set up very well for the kids. She had a little marble run set, magnet tiles, board games, and coloring set up in the living room for the kids. Her daughter saw it and asked if those were her toys. My friend said no and that she got new ones for them to share with the other kids. Then she asked about the games and my friend said yes, those were their games. The girl picked up the boxes and took them to her room. My friend couldn't talk her into sharing them and refused to tell her they were for everybody. The toys were also set up for younger kids, so the boys started to get bored. I asked about turning on the TV and she told me that she can plug it in, but she doesn't have cable or streaming, so they can only watch whatever's free on Roku. We sent the boys outside to play on her trampoline even though it was cold. Her daughter only colored with the kids when her mom was with her. Then after 20 minutes, she wanted to play by herself and locked herself in her room. She came out when dinner was ready and refused to sit with the other kids. There was pasta, chicken, buttered noodles, and salad available. However, she still refused to eat any of it, so her mom had to get up and make mac and cheese and Dino nuggets just to get her to eat. After dinner, she sat in her mom's lap and refused to move until we went home. She thanked us while we were leaving and said this was great for her daughter. I told her that watching her kids get special treatment and take things away from them wasn't good for the rest of the kids, so she needed to wait until her daughter could be around people before she hosted them again. She thinks I was extremely rude and didn't need to say anything, but someone needs to tell her that she can't have other kids over if that's how her kid behaves. Am I the idiot? Wow, you are the idiot big time. Worse than that, your egocentrism and lack of perspective terrifies me. Are you so obtuse and uncaring that you thought this playdate was somehow all about you and your kids? It didn't occur to you that a foster child who has obviously been taken from our home for reasons we probably can't begin to comprehend might not be 100% upon manners and sharing. That she and your friend are navigating territory that you, in your perfect world, would never understand. I hope your friend keeps you far away from her and this child. You don't seem to have the ability to show empathy and compassion in any way. Your remark was thoughtless and ignorant. I will pray for your friend who is doing her best to help this child find comfort and safety. We need more people like her in this world. People like you? Not so much. She 100% thought that the playdate was about her kids and her kids being hosted at her friend's house and that it was not a learning playdate for her friend's daughter. She for sure didn't have a gentle talk with her kids before about how to behave and try to engage. She thought it was the foster daughter who would play and entertain everyone so her boys wouldn't get bored. Wow, Opie, I lost my late wife when our children were young. She had money that was hers. We had joint and separate finances. Anything that was her separate finances is being saved for our children. The question is that I've remarried and I have a stepchild and another biological child with my present wife. She was always aware that I considered this money for the children I have with my late wife only. But recently she feels it's unfair because they have money set aside for the future that will at least help get them started after they turn 18, while we sometimes had to make sacrifices due to inflation. My stepdaughter wanted to join these dance classes that would help in her dream of professional dancing. We couldn't afford those specific dance classes. My wife was upset. She wanted to do this so badly for my stepdaughter. And for those who will ask, the bio father is not in the picture and has not been found so he can pay child support. Yes, he was searched for on more than one occasion, but my wife has no idea where her ex is. She wanted to know why there was money set aside for just 2 of the kids for their future, instead of using it now to make our lives easier. I told her my late wife wanted this for them, and that I believed the money should be spent on my children with my late wife anyway. I told her we still had a good life. We just didn't have all the luxuries. And like a lot of families, we struggled when inflation hit, but we were still doing good. My wife cannot access this money, by the way, and I know that will also be asked. I also have arrangements made in case something happens to me. My wife then said we could pay for extracurriculars for all 4 kids out of the money and have that off our minds, and we could get back to saving it set. I said no. She told me I was acting like my late wife had left a will with instructions, which she didn't. She also accused me of treating my stepdaughter and my youngest child like they were less deserving. I said the money isn't mine. It was my late wife's and it will be our children's. And my wife should stop treating it as anything else. She told me I was being very unreasonable. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The inheritance from your deceased wife was a premarital asset. It's not in the our money pot. It's in the my money pot. And you've been saving it for the children you had with your first wife. Your wife doesn't have to like it, but it is what it is. She's not entitled to use the money. Exactly. She's saying the first 2 children are privileged because they have money to look forward to. But that's there because their mother died. It's not a privilege. I hope she's not trying to guilt-trip the 2 children about it or treating them any differently because of it. I think OP would be wise to tie it up in a trust for his eldest 2 just to take the option right off the table. It's money from their mother, not a family asset. Stepmother can get a job if she wants more money for dance lessons. Yep, this screw your kid's grief. She wants dance classes. It's insane that the number of people who think windfalls of money they have nothing to do with should be used for themselves or their children by association. I co-parent my kindergarten-aged son with his father. His father grew up in a conservative religious household but no longer practices as an adult. Yesterday I was painting my nails as I usually do while our son was watching the movie Cars, a new recent love of his. He was curious and asked what I was doing. I explained I was putting red nail polish on my nails. He asked if he could have some too, and I didn't think twice. I just swiped the red nail color on. He was instantly overjoyed to have red on him like Lightning McQueen. He was so happy and excited and wanted to show his daddy and his friends at school tomorrow. I texted a picture to his dad and asked if he could wear the nail polish to school for one day to show his friends. His dad responded, "No, take this off immediately. We need to show him that some things are for boys and others are just for girls." I told him I didn't agree that this was a big deal but would take off the nail polish, and that if he had strong feelings about this we should talk in person and not over text. I worked in a school setting for 4 years and saw many male teachers and students with nail polish. I let his dad know that nail polish is normalized between all genders nowadays. He accused me of influencing our son and asked if I was going to refer to our son as non-binary. I let him know I felt this was being blown out of proportion. Am I the idiot? He and I are meeting this week. We've had a contentious co-parenting relationship in the past and are struggling to regain trust. I regret ever doing this because it feels like we're going backwards again now, but at the same time I don't see an issue. It doesn't hurt our son or anybody else, and I want to stand my ground by not having him feel like he can dictate rules in my house, which he's tried to do before. What does putting on a tiny dab of nail polish have to do with being non-binary? Your ex is going to raise your son in a toxic environment. I would be steadfast in telling your son that nail polish is for anyone and telling your ex you refuse to lie and say otherwise because he has some weirdness in gender insecurity. Yeah, nail painting is pretty common across genders. Manicures too. You're probably going to face many gender-biased stereotypes with your ex. What if he wants a pink shirt or to learn how to cook? I'd assume things are already strained since you felt the need to ask permission for a temporary cosmetic change. Not the idiot, but there will be many battles like this in the future. My 30 male wife, 34 female, and I have been together for 8 years. 5 of them married. I thought we were the kind of couple that could tell each other any problem. I loved her deeply and always believed she felt the same way about me. Like many couples, we had our ups and downs, but I never thought it could lead to infidelity. 4 months ago, I started noticing changes in her behavior. She was more distant, always glued to the phone and avoiding our conversations. You know, the typical things about a cheating person. Well, one day I came across a message on her phone that confirmed what I feared the most. She was seeing someone else. It was like a punch in the stomach. I felt anger, sadness, and an overwhelming sense of betrayal. But instead of confronting her right away, I decided to wait. My main reason was to protect myself from a possible divorce. If I was going to face this situation, I wanted solid evidence. So I spent the next 2 months gathering messages, photos, and anything else I could use if things got legally difficult. During those 2 months, I pretended to be normal while the pain piled up. I watched her act like everything was fine, and with each passing day, my feelings for her faded. The love I once felt was replaced by indifference. If anyone says that love for someone doesn't go away, well, it's not entirely true. When I finally gathered all the evidence, I confronted her. I showed her everything I knew, and although she tried to deny it at first, she finally admitted that she'd been having an affair. She said it was a mistake, that she still loved me, and that she wanted to work things out. But by then I didn't feel anything anymore. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I didn't even get angry. I simply told her that it was okay, that we could get a divorce, and that we could each move on with our lives. My lack of emotion baffled her. She said my indifference was cold and cruel, and that if I truly loved her, I should have fought to save our marriage, which was ironic coming from her. But the truth was that I did love her very much. Only after 2 months of living with the betrayal and silence did I not care. Am I the idiot for becoming indifferent towards my wife after discovering her affair? Not the idiot. Remember this. The only reason she's sorry is that she got caught, and the only reason she's attacking your lack of emotion is because it gives you the upper hand. She would be happier, apparently, if you were a mess and devastated. She's lying about how much she loves you. I hope that's clear. She might care, but not enough to remain faithful and not enough to let you go in a healthy and drama-free way. LMAO, I love her projecting. She could have fought for marriage by simply not cheating. It's so simple. I honestly would have laughed. Was the affair still going on when you confronted her? Also, if I was you and the other guy was married, I'd tell his wife. Blow it all up. No one deserves to be the pathetic loser oblivious to this, and I say this as someone who was oblivious. If she really loved you, she wouldn't have cheated with another dude. The indifference you're feeling is probably a defense mechanism. I don't be surprised if you have a lot of different emotions. Moving forward, focus on healing and what's best for you. Consider seeking counseling to process your emotions and the end of your marriage in a healthy way. Good luck, Opie.